Nobody's ever accused the government of having wonderful technology and great websites. But as far as Social Security goes, their website actually isn't too bad. There's one part on that website, though, that I usually will disagree with. And right on their homepage, it says that in as little as 15 minutes time, you can plan out when you should collect Social Security. I've got a problem with that. You have spent the last 25, 35, 45 years of your life putting money into Social Security, and it's going to play a huge role in how long your money lasts. I think it deserves more than 15 minutes of your time. Hi, my name is Josh Brettel. I'm the founder and owner of FSR Wealth Strategies, and today we're going to talk about some of the fundamentals of Social Security decision making. Now, before we go into the fundamentals, there's a few definitions that I want you to know. And the first definition is one called full retirement age, or F.R.A. F.R.A. is one of those government acronyms they love to throw out that really no one has any idea what it means. But what it means is the age at which you should start collecting Social Security according to government calculations. Now, it's going to range somewhere between age 66 and age 67. It's pretty simple. And if you look at your Social Security statement, which, by the way, the Social Security website does a great job. I suggest everybody log in, create an account. You can download and look at your Social Security statement whenever you want. But if you look at your Social Security statement, on page 2, they will tell you what your full retirement age is. It's going to say 66 in 1 month. It might be 66 in 7 months. It might say 67. But somewhere in there, that's the age at which they calculate your Social Security benefit. So full retirement age is the age at which they calculate your Social Security benefit. But there's another thing you have to be aware of, and that is how they calculate your Social Security benefit. They do something called average index monthly earnings. Kind of crazy. That is on page 3 of your Social Security statement. So on page 3 of your Social Security statement, you're going to have all these numbers, and it's going to start with the very first year you work, and it's going to show you how much you earned that year in Social Security. And then they actually take an index, they take an inflation factor to it, if you will, and they adjust it for inflation. And they show you every single year. You might have some zeros in there, you might have some really big years, maybe it just increases normally for you. As you got older, you made more money. And you're going to have a different amount of years. Some people may have 10 years, some people may have 40 years, but you're going to have all of your years listed there. And how they calculate the average index monthly earnings is what they do is they take those 35 highest years. So if you worked for 45 years, they'll take the 35 highest. If you worked for 20 years, they're going to take all 20 years and they're going to give you 15 zeros. And what they're going to do is they're going to add them all up. And then they're going to divide by 420. Why 420? Because there are 420 months in 35 years. They're trying to come up with a monthly average of those numbers. So they take the highest 35 years, divide by 420. That's going to give you the average monthly earnings that you have. And that's step 1 in the calculation. Step 2 is they take that monthly average number and they dump it into a secondary calculation. And what happens is the first about $900 to $1,500 gets a really high variable place to it. So it should be about 90%, 85, 90%. And then anything above that 900 or so up till about, 2,800 gets a much lower number. It gets about 40%. And then anything above that only gets about 18% of the money attached to it. And they take those and they add them up, and that becomes your average index monthly earnings. And that's what they use to calculate what your full retirement age amount is going to be. That's what they use to calculate your F.R.A. amount. Now on page 2, they also give you 2 additional numbers. They give you your age 62 amount, which is the earliest you can start collecting, and they give you your age 70 amount, which is the latest you can start collecting. And those numbers are just simply different variables based off of that full retirement age. For the age 70 amount, they take your full retirement age amount and they add 8% a year. And if you are starting younger, they actually reduce it by about 7% a year. It's not exact, but it's about 7% a year. So if you start early, you're going to get a smaller amount. And if you start later, all the way up to age 70, you're going to get a greatly increased amount. So when should you start? That will be our next video. I hope you join us for it then. Thanks. I hope you got some value out of the video you just watched. And if you know somebody else that might benefit from seeing this, please share it with them. And to see future videos that we produce and put out, please subscribe to our channel.